The meeting is now being recorded.
Thank you. Can we for now?
You may begin, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. As I said a minute ago, this is the Housing Wednesday, August 12th, 2020, City Hall 10, although all of us are socially distanced. 200 North Spring, Los Angeles, California, 90012. I am Cio, Chair. I am joined by my two colleagues, Mr. Krikorian, Mr. Harris-Dawson. Do you take roll, Secretary?
Yes. For the Housing Committee meeting, Mr. Cedillo.
Present.
Krikorian.
Here.
Harris-Dawson.
Here.
You have a quorum, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Yes, can we start before we move into item 1 with public comment on all items? Madam?
Would you like me to read the public comment call-in information?
Yes, I would.
Members of the public who would like to offer public comment on the items listed on the agenda should call 1-669-254-5252 and use meeting ID 160-871-1866 and then press the number sign. Press the number sign again when prompted for participant ID. Once admitted into the meeting, press *9 to request to speak.
Madam Chair, may we note that it's 1 minute for an individual item and 2 minutes for multiple items?
Yes, and for general public comment, an additional 1 minute.
Okay, let's go forward. It's being managed by Mal Eloman from our office. Can we go forward with public comment?
Yes, Chair. Mr. Chair, we do have set 25 callers lined up. Okay. Your name, please, caller, and how many items did you want to speak on? Caller? Name, please.
I'm so sorry. Name is John Parks, and I'd like to provide comment on item number 3 and general public comment.
Okay, now 2 minutes, sir.
Yes, I'd like to speak.
Yes, go ahead, sir.
Yes, I want to speak on the fact that reports that were supposed to be generated by the housing department have not made it back to the council. And as a concerned citizen, I want to know why the reports haven't made it back to the city council so that they can move forward on things like the Anti-Harassment Ordinance and reforming laws to protect more renters and creating more affordable housing. This is very important, and especially during this pandemic, it's highlighted these issues. So I just want to find out why these reports haven't made it back to the council so that they can take care of these concerns that we have.
Did you want to go for your public comment now, sir?
Yes, if I can. I'm sorry.
1 minute. Yeah,
Thank you. Yes, thank you for this opportunity to speak. My name is Stanley Chapman, and I'm a concerned citizen, and I'm calling to find out why the reports haven't made it back that were supposed to be done by the housing department. We need the city council needs reports so that they can move forward on things like the Anti-Harassment Ordinance and reforming laws to protect more renters and creating more affordable housing. None of this can be done while the housing department sits on these reports. So that's why I'm wanted this opportunity to speak, and I appreciate this opportunity.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Caller, your name please, and how many items do you want to speak on? Hello? Hello? Caller, your name please, and how many items do you want to speak on? Hello? Okay. Caller, your name please, and how many items do you want to speak on?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Great. Hi, my name is Nisha Vias. I'd like to speak on general public comment, or deliver a general public comment.
Okay, you have 1 minute. 1 minute.
Sure. Hi, my name is Nisha Vias. I am a tenants' rights advocate, but I am also a community member and voter and property owner in District 10. And I want to state that I want to request that the Anti-Harassment Ordinance that has been long promised move forward, that the City Council move on the Anti-Harassment Ordinance. Harassment has always been a problem, and COVID-19 has made it incredibly worse. We need it now. We need it permanent. We need a permanent solution going forward. Tenant harassment affects tens of thousands of renters every day in Los Angeles. As I walk through my community, I see people who are newly experiencing homelessness, and I know that they did not lose their homes willingly, and I know that a lot of the...
Your time is up now. Thank you. Your name, please, and how many items did you want to speak on? Hello?
Hello?
Yes, your name, please, and how many items did you want to speak on?
Terry Grant, General Public. I just have a simple statement. Where are the reports? And can we locate them immediately? Thank you all for your time. Goodbye.
Thank you. Thank you. Caller, your name, please, and how many items do you want to speak on?
Hello?
Yes, we can hear you.
You can hear me? Okay. My name is Leila Goring, and I want to speak under general comments.
Okay, you have 1 minute, ma'am.
Okay, I'm calling about the reports that were supposed to be back by the Department of Housing. I think that lack of effort to get them done. I'm sorry. I was saying that I think that amount of time that they've taken is ridiculous, especially going under this current pandemic where a lot of people is losing houses and you have an increased amount of people ended in the streets. I think the City Council should pressure the Department of Housing to provide those reports. There's no reason to take any longer. Thank you. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you. Your name, please, and how many items do you want to speak on?
Susan Hunter, I'll be taking item number 5 in general public comment.
You have 2 minutes.
Thank you so much. Susan Hunter, Housing Human Right, as well as Los Angeles Tenants Union. Just as a side note, it would help if you said the last 4 of the person's telephone number so that they know that they're unmuted. And I don't know that everybody knows to press *9 in order to talk. We have a major issue with cite item number 5 as example, that we are holding up too many progressive solutions to address our issues, waiting on report backs from the Housing Department that are not coming back. And this is going to be another one. Item number 5 that says, look, we have a homeless crisis. We can do something potentially, but we have to have more information in order to make an informed decision. We can't get informed decisions made if we're not getting report backs from the Housing Department, and I don't understand why we're not. You look at Ruth Ellis' reform motion, which back in October of last year is when the Housing Department said, give us 90 days and we'll have it done. And it's been almost a year. Look at the anti-harassment. We're still waiting on that report back. We have O'Farrell's 14-0268-S14, still haven't had a report back. Bonin has put in a request to find out what we can do about inclusionary zoning. We still don't have a report back. I don't understand what the housing department's doing because they're not processing Ellis evictions. They're not doing field work as far as complaints about...
for public comment, ma'am. You can start.
Okay, yeah, we're in it. We're already in it. Thank you. We have so many people that are not able to do field work at the housing department. Why aren't they pitching in and helping with these report backs? And quite frankly, every single one of these report backs should be ready by the next hearing because there's no excuses anymore. They haven't had anything else on their plate. There's no reason why we couldn't have gotten through this backlog, and I don't understand why it seems like the housing department is intentionally stopping us from being able to help people and providing to make sure that people are not being displaced either under an epidemic or not, when we should be doing this work. So I don't want to hear any more excuses because excuses are no longer a valid reason. We've run out of excuses, so I don't want to hear it. We have to have every single one of the report backs back. We have to start moving these policies through our city council. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Your name, please, and how many items did you want to speak on?
Wayne from Encino, Gil Cedillo's award-winning constituent. All items and general public comment.
You have 3 minutes.
All right. So let's start off with those reports. Just take it easy about the reports. I'm doing the reports. I'm over here right now at my computer. Thank you to the city. I need the extra money. But I can't log in on my server because my internet's down here. So if you could get over here, Mr. Cedillo, I'm over here in the corner.
Could you please speak on the item, please?
Yeah, I'm talking about, if you could get over here to San Pedro and Temple, I need my internet up. It's down right now. So let's get to number 2. It's a Paul Krikorian matter. Anything that Paul Krikorian wants, I don't want. No on number 2. Well, number 3, Rue's doing a good job. Now, I like air conditioners. Now, air conditioners are important. Now, I grew up without an air conditioner, and so I learned how to cool myself off by sweating. So, yes, I support number 3. Now, let's talk about the unused Airbnb units. Fuck Airbnb. Let's outlaw it and give these apartments to homeless people and have the city pay the rent. That's what we need to do on item 4. Item 5, partnership of owned land. Well, if we publicly own it, we don't have to have partners. Let's just give it all to the homeless and let them camp out, like Janice Hahn did over in Grand Park. Take a look over there. It's a wonderful thing. Then we have number 7. Now, due to the peace treaty with me and CD1, I have to read this. I hereby do not oppose the item on CD1. I hereby support it. Okay, there we go. Now we'll get to general public comment, if that's okay.
Yes, correct.
So, okay. So, as you know, the FBI is going to indict more council members. And everybody is snitching in City Hall. But remember who your friends really are. Now, Gil Cedillo is your friend. Why? Because Herb Wesson and the rest of the council supported the racist Jay Bray Ali to try to get Gil off of the city council. That means what? That means he's good. Paul Krikorian, he's a piece of shit. And Marquise Harris Dawson, he's corrupt. He's Weezer 2.0. In about 3 years, he'll be indicted probably, unless he changes his ways. So remember, let's clean up the tents in CD1, and let's get our Chuck E. Cheese over in Lafayette Park Place and get that tent away from Chuck E. Cheese so he can sell pizza to the community.
Thank you, sir. Name, please, and how many items do you want to speak on?
Danielle Eidner-Press with AGLA, and I'd like to speak on item 3.
So you have just item 3. You have 1 minute, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. As we outlined more comprehensively in our letter, there are a number of safety and cost-related issues that we'd like to be explored. We also would ask that AID should engage with and obtain feedback from stakeholders as part of the review process. Air conditioning installation presents certain safety concerns, especially in regard to installation. We urge that professional installation be required for air conditioners that are placed in windows, that owners not be subject to liability arising out of such installation, and that written owner approval be required prior to the placement of an air conditioner in the unit. There are also associated costs. If a rental unit has not had an air conditioner, the electrical outlets may not support the appliance and would need to be upgraded in order to avoid electrical or potential fire hazards.
Thank you, ma'am. Your time is up. Your time is up. Your name, state your name, please. How many items did you want to speak on?
My name is Camille. I'd like to speak on all items in general public comment.
Okay, you have 3 minutes, sir.
Thank you. With regard, number one, obviously we should do everything to get funds for housing, but I think that we could do more as a council to get infrastructure, housing, and jobs for people in the city. On regards to item number 3, I think that the city can make things easier by also just giving people grants for the ones that don't have to be installed, that are just mobile air conditioners. But so I support this. Obviously, number 4, I would want the city to look further into Airbnb as a whole. Airbnb is not going to be a partner in the housing crisis in LA in any way, shape, or form, especially leading up to the Olympics in 2028, which we should cancel. With regards to item number 5, there's, like, has been said previously, there's not necessarily a partnership that needs to be formed. If we own the land, we can just simply focus housing 100% on affordable housing and housing for the homeless. And with regard to just general public comment, I would just like to urge the council to do its job in council rent, do its job with regards to not relying on report backs to clothe themselves in bureaucracy, because report backs and bureaucracy are the clothing of cows, which all of you are. That's why you rely on them. And so I would like for you guys to find the courage to, build the housing that we need in this city at the actual rates that will make affordable for the people who live there, and build housing for the unhoused neighbors that we have in this community, instead of just focusing on sweeps. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Please state your name and which items you would like to comment on.
Hello, my name is Eduardo Martinez. Can I like to speak on item number 1 and in public comment, please?
You have 2 minutes, sir.
All right. So what I wanted to know is, why is the housing authority, the housing department, holding all these reports from the city council in order to help and reforming the laws that are going to protect the renters of the county of LA and the city of LA? We need to have the Department of Housing deliver those reports immediately, so the city council can start acting and do things that are going to help our residents of the city of LA as far as affordable housing and anti-harassment ordinance. That's my comment. Thank you.
Thank you. Please state your name and which items you would like to speak on. Hello? Yes.
Hola, buenas tardes.
Go ahead.
Hola.
Yes. Hello.
¿Sí me escuchan? ¿Me escucha? Hello.
Sí. Go ahead, ma'am. You can, your name?
Nancy.
Okay. How many, which items did you want to speak on?
Comentario público.
Okay. You have 1 minute, ma'am.
Ok. Mi nombre es Nancy Villanueva, organizadora del Distrito 9. Estoy aquí levantando por cientos de inquilinos que estamos pidiendo al Consejo que aprueben una ordenanza para parar los acosos. Un día tenemos a muchos inquilinos acosados y más por motivos de la pandemia. Necesitamos para parar estos acosos. Le estamos pidiendo al Distrito 9, son miles de personas que han sido extremadamente. Por favor, apoyen y queremos esta ordenanza. Gracias.
Gracias. Please state your name and which items you would like to speak on.
Buenas tardes. Hello, quisiera hablar.
Hello, yes, sir.
Sí, buenas tardes. Mire, mi nombre es Francisco Salcido y yo quisiera pedirle, por favor, al Departamento de Vivienda que por favor entregue todos los reportes relacionados con el bienestar de los ciudadanos aquí de Los Ángeles al Concilio de la Ciudad de ustedes para que actúen en proyectos que se han estado deteniendo por la falta de esos reportes del Departamento de Vivienda o el Housing Department que le llaman. Por favor, si pueden mandar este mensaje a ellos o que usted lo reciba, el Departamento de Vivienda tiene que entregar esos reportes lo más pronto posible. Muchas gracias. Es mi comentario.
Thank you. Please state your name and the items you would like to speak on. Hello. Please state your name and the items you wanted to speak on. Hello. Hello. Next caller.
My name is Alejandro.
Please state your.
Hello, my name is Alejandro Lopez. I want to tell you how very important is we want the report back that we are supposed to have already been done by the Housing Department. We need a report back, please, so that the City Council can move forward times Anti-Harassment Ordinance law to protect more renters and creating more affordable housing.
Please state your name and the items you wanted to speak on.
Hi, this is Hassan. I'm an organizer at ACE. I represent the District 8. I would like to talk about the item 14, that is the amendment that we want to push for anti-harassment.
Okay, you have 1 minute, sir.
Thank you. Well, as we know, the harassment has always been a problem in COVID-19, making it worse, but we need this now. And for it to be permitted going forward and affecting tens of thousands of renters every day in Los Angeles, before evictions often comes harassment. Almost everyone who has been evicted has first harassment. As an organizer in the District 8, and spoke with Chris Harrison, that there is people that are being actually asked to raise their rents, which is illegal, and this, anti-harassment ordinance will help a lot of the community that is living in District 8 to have a peace of mind until COVID-19 gets resolved. And yeah. So just like Nancy, the organizer that she spoke in Spanish, we have a lot of members that are really worried about this, and then it's, this is a continuing fight that we've been fighting for 3 months now. So yeah, it's, I'm really upset also too that we're getting to almost at the end of the year, to get any results. So do it now.
Thank you. Hello, name and the items you wanted to speak on?
Hello?
Yes. Go ahead, sir.
Gerardo Saavedra.
Yes, sir.
¿Aló?
Yes, go ahead, sir.
El comentario es el siguiente. El Departamento de Vivienda debe de entregar los reportes de daños de los proyectos del Concilio de la Ciudad de Los Ángeles. Es un comentario, gracias.
Yes. You have 1 minute, sir. Sir.
Hello?
Yes, please state your name and which items you would like to comment on.
My name is Chris Crocker, and I'd like to speak to item number 3, Rue's motion for the air conditioning.
Okay, you have 1 minute, sir.
Yes, I think a lot more thought needs to go into allowing tenants to put in their own air conditioning units. It takes a great deal of engineering. At the very least, you're going to have to be held to the same standard that landlords are when they want to install HVAC systems inside the units. There's got to be electrical capacity, there's got to be engineering of mounting, and there's got to be engineering of electricity. If they are allowed to do that, if they're not held to that same standard, all the same dangers would apply to the tenants that are applying, that the landlords are being held to accountable for right now. I would also add at this point that it's very unlikely that if air conditioning doesn't exist in that apartment right now, it's unlikely that there's additional capacity for a tenant-borne HVAC unit is going to be able to be accommodated by its current electrical capacity. So it sounds like a great notion. I doubt it is as well thought out as it needs to be. And I would urge this to be scrutinized further before it continues.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Please state your name and which items you would like to speak on.
Hola, buenas tardes. Mi nombre es Guillermo Fregoso y yo solo tengo una pregunta. ¿Cuándo van a estar listos los reportes del Departamento de Vivienda que el Concilio de la Ciudad de Los Ángeles necesita para sus proyectos? Ese es todo mi comentario. Muchas gracias.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Please state your name and which items you would like to speak on.
Yes. Hello, can you hear me?
Hello, yes, go ahead. Yes, I can hear you.
My name is Tony Delgado.
State your name and...
Tony Delgado.
Yes. And how many and which items did you want to speak on?
I want to speak on public comment. Hello?
Okay, you have 1 minute, sir. Yes, you have 1 minute, sir.
All I want to say is that I want to please the housing department to deliver all the reports that are necessary for the City of Council, LA City Council, in order to proceed with all the projects that you guys have, especially on rent control and affordable housing. That is my comment and public comment. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Please state your name and which items you would like to speak on.
Hola.
Yes, hello.
Sí.
Yes, please state your name.
Sí. Mi renta demasiado. Quiero un proceso para mi inquilino. No quiere perder mi apartamento.
This is Mr. Spindler speaking a second time. It's not appropriate for him to speak a second time and take up other people's time and use a disproportionate amount of time that's allowed to speakers.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. We'll go to the next caller. Please state your name and which items you would like to comment on.
Hello?
Yes.
Mi nombre es Antonio Marín.
Pertenezco a la organización AC, solo quiero hacer un comentario. Soy inquilino. Quiero pedirle al Consejo que nos apoye en aprobar alguna ley que proteja más al inquilino, porque sufro de mucho acoso. En el caso mío, sufro mucho acoso con el dueño y la dueña, de insultos, casi de llegar a golpes. Ha llegado al punto de que el sobrino de la dueña ha venido a golpear en la puerta a una de las personas que viven aquí en la misma vivienda donde yo vivo, y llamamos a la policía dice que no puede hacer nada. Entonces queremos que haya una ley que proteja, y eso es lo que en mi comentario le pido al Consejo hagan por hacer algo a todo eso. Gracias.
Thank you. Please state your name and which items you would like to speak on.
Hello, my name is John Parks, and I'd like to speak on item number 3 and general public comment.
You have 2 minutes, sir.
Good afternoon, council members. I'm here representing the Coalition for Economic Survival and its members in support for item number 3. As the summer days become hotter every year, the right for a tenant to install air conditioning is not just about habitability, but about the public health hazards and negative effects of rising temperatures. This year, the hazard is compounded by existing stay-at-home orders. Landlords are increasingly denying tenants from installing their own air conditioning to force an eviction by heat. This leaves tenants sweltering in their homes, unable to leave and unable to cool off. Those with health conditions or mobility issues are more severely impacted by not having this relief. And we strongly support this air conditioning motion to be adopted and implemented so tenants do not have to continue suffering unnecessarily or risk losing their lives when a simple fix is available. And now for general public comment. As well, I'm here to represent CES along with other tenant advocates to emphasize the need for the Anti-Tenant Harassment Ordinance that has been sitting on the sidelines awaiting discussion for over 2 years. Now more than ever, we need a permanent Anti-Tenant Harassment Ordinance. Before COVID-19, tenants were already experiencing harassment at the hands of landlords. And now during the pandemic, harassment has multiplied with very little recourse for tenants to defend themselves. For example, a CES member living in the Westlake neighborhood has received an eviction notice every week since September of last year and throughout the pandemic. In fact, yesterday the tenants received a 24-hour notice from the owner to enter the building from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. from August 12th today until September 11th of next month. This is an owner that has called the police as a tool of intimidation, filed an eviction case on top of an LSAC eviction, and has threatened the children of the tenants. Basically, this owner has done everything at the tenants to force them out during this pandemic. The tenants now live in constant fear of the owner and his agents. Without the Anti-Tenant Harassment Ordinance, these extra legal activities have gone unchecked throughout the city before and during this pandemic and will continue to do so. City Council must adopt this motion to protect tenants who are at the mercy of aggressive slumlords who take advantage of departmental confusion and loopholes for their own economic gains. Thank you.
Thank you. Please state your name and which items you would like to speak on.
Yeah, hi, Daniel Gus, item 3, 4, 7 in general, please.
You have 3 minutes, sir.
Okay, great. First, item number 3, a caller before very clearly pointed out the enormous liability that the city is taking on by encouraging or making it okay for tenants to install air conditioning units. Imagine what will happen when the first person who does not have an electrician's license rewires an apartment or attempts to even break through the drywall to install air conditioning in an apartment, or tries to install an air conditioning unit in a window without knowing how to secure it properly, and it falls out the window and somebody's killed. Imagine the liability on the city, and that means the taxpayers, when that first death happens, whether from somebody messing with electricity without an electrician's license, or an in-window air conditioning unit falls and kills somebody, and it was done with the blessing of the city of Los Angeles. And number 4, using empty Airbnb units. Why is the city getting involved in the business affairs that you haven't already overly regulated between Airbnb and mom-and-pop landlords, or mom-and-pop, whatever you want to call them, Airbnb tenants? The city has plenty of motels and a convention center. Why? And by the way, Airbnb is usually a nicer place why in the world would the city endeavor to use units that are being rented or via
Okay, I don't know.
these private parties? It's a bad idea. How about the first open? Whoever's talking, come on, guys, it's my time. How about first opening the convention center and putting in a couple thousand beds there before you get involved in people who are trying to hold on to their units so they don't lose them to bankruptcy in this time. Regarding item number 7, Mr. Wesson, again, mixed use, mixed income. Why is it every time I see mixed use, mixed income in this city, mixed income has no relevance to the real world income of renters in the city or the county or the state? Mixed income, why not just focus on poor people and forget about mixed income? Go to the people who may have jobs, who may have 3 jobs and are struggling to keep a roof over their head. Why not just do that? This whole concept of mixed income, the government doesn't understand what mixed income is because the government never struggles. The government never loses jobs. Her Wesson's daughter-in-law is making $140,000 now. How does the government understand what mixed income is? Now for my general public comment. And it's along those lines. My
15 seconds, sir. Yeah.
What about my 1 minute for general public comment?
You went over that. So go ahead, sir.
No. That's okay. You get the point. I'll get back to the rest of my time. Thank you. Have a nice one.
Thank you. Please state your name and the items you would like to speak on. Please state your name and the items you would like to speak on.
Hello, my name is Nancy Lee, and I'm calling to give general public comment and comment on number 3 and all of the items.
You have 3 minutes.
Thank you. I'm a long-term RSO Westside tenant. I have been facing long-term harassment from my new owner who has terrorized me for years. At least one person in my building became homeless and another died as a direct result of the harassment of my owner. I'm terrified that I may be next. Tenant harassment is escalating and is only going to get worse. These issues are life and death, and we must speed up the process of enacting tenant protection. The report back process isn't working. I did all of the right things, including contact HDID. The current protections are simply not enough. I'm asking each council member to immediately contact President Martinez to schedule a vote on the independent Anti-Harassment Ordinance. Additionally, could people mute, please? Additionally, I am supportive of item number 3. My new owners installed air conditioning in the units for the new tenants that they brought in after harassing and forcing out the old people. So the new tenants are paying 3 times the amount of rent, do have air conditioning, but the original tenants who bought and stayed do not. It is sweltering. Most of the original tenants are disabled. The comments made about liability and safety seem to be just a ruse in order to keep tenants hot, uncomfortable, and force them out. Thank you.
Thank you. Please state your name and which items you would like to speak on.
La bendición.
Hello. 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 Please state your name and the items you would like to speak on. Hello.
Hello?
Yes. Please state your name and the items you would like to speak on.
Hello?
Yes. Yes.
Hello?
Yes.
Carmen?
Yes, we can hear you. Your name, please? Your name?
Hello, mi nombre es Carmen.
Yes.
Sí, adelante, por favor. Adelante, por favor.
¿Es para mí?
Sí,
¿Es
claro.
para mí ahora? Mi nombre es Carmen. ¿Sí es para mí ahora? Ok, mire, mi nombre es Carmen y yo pertenezco al miembro de la organización ACE. Soy una inquilina acosada por la dueña de la casa donde yo vivo. Ella nos está amenazando de muerte, que nos acosa que nos vayamos de su propiedad, nos lleva, nos dice que nos va a llamar al sheriff para que nos saque de la casa, dice que va a llamar a inmigración para que nos desaloje de su propiedad. Ella pone una yarda ahí donde vivimos y cuando uno entra o sale, solamente está diciendo indirectas. Queremos alguna ley que nos apoye. Hemos llamado al departamento de policía. El departamento de policía no nos ha ayudado porque ellos no pueden hacer nada para solucionar ese problema. Entonces, estoy pidiendo a esta organización que nos ayude para poder tener una solución y también uno de inquilino pueda tener apoyo cuando los dueños de las propiedades nos están acosando. Gracias.
Thank you. Please state your name and which items you would like to speak on.
Hi, Chris Chan. I'm part of CCED. I'd like to speak about item number 3, number 7, and general public comment.
You have 2 minutes.
I support previous commenters regarding number 3 and passing it, as tenants should be able to live in a healthy and habitable environment, and if that means in this summer as the heat's going up, they should be able to build AC units without having to deal with a abusive landlord. I'd like to comment on number 7 that it should not be a mixed income building. It should be a truly affordable housing, truly affordable housing unit building, because the median income in Chinatown is roughly $20,000. Building a mixed income means that you're willing to ensure gentrification that is already happening in Chinatown and will ensure that all the low-income tenants living in Chinatown will be on the streets. I'd like to start my general public comment that you are all cowards. None of these items have anything related to canceling rent, canceling or enacting a real eviction moratorium to protect tenants, to protect renters, nor do you have anything related regarding sweeps or stopping these sweeps to protect unhoused folks. You are all fucking cowards, and I hope you all have a horrible day. No, thank you.
Thank you. Please state your name and the items you would like to speak on.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, ma'am.
Hi, this is Alicia Jolo for Prime Residential. I'd like to request a comment on item number 3 and general public comment.
You have 2 minutes, ma'am.
Sure. I'd like to request that the motion number 3 be amended to request that DWP report back on the electrical load and safety issues, and to direct DBS to report back on safety and permitting issues. Just to echo the comments about the safety concerns. This is a major installation. It's permitted work, and that's for a reason. If someone were to undertake this work without taking the proper precautions, and for example, as a prior caller indicated, that it fell on someone's head, a particular AC unit, that's obviously a very big problem. The other issue is if people are undertaking this work by themselves. Someone mentioned cutting into drywall. Buildings have asbestos. One of my colleagues commented earlier about all the obligations and precautions that landlords have to take. There, right now, as expressed in the motion, there's no recognition of those issues. In addition to the energy efficiency obligations that we have to maintain, which is regulated through DBS, and finally the electrical load issues, which have also been commented on earlier. I mean, if a lot of AC units are implemented without any kind of oversight, it could overload the transformer. You can have fires. So that's a very long way of saying that we do think that other agencies like DBS need to be involved, DWP needs to be involved to report back on these issues so we can get a comprehensive understanding of the impact of this. Thank you.
Thank you. Please state your name and which items you would like to comment on. Hello? Hello, please state your name and which items you would like to comment on. Hello? Hello? Please state your name and which items you would like to comment on.
I previously commented and was kicked out and just am back in the meeting.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Goodbye.
Mr. Chair, we seem to have disconnected from the public comment portion. Can we go into a brief recess so that we can reconnect?
Give us 1 second. I'll check on public comment. I think we'll be okay in 1 second. If not, we'll go into a very brief recess. I think we have just about exhausted the list. Do you have an idea how many more callers are going to present their point of view to us? Madam Clerk, why don't we take a short 5-minute recess? Is that okay?
Yes, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
He's going to fix it.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Yes, a brief 5-minute recess as we give IT an opportunity to address this problem.
You may resume public comment.
Okay. Please state your name and which items you would like to speak on. Hello? Hello? Please state your name and which items you would like to speak on. Please state your name and the items you would like to speak on. Hello? Hello?
Hello, this is Beverly Kenworthy.
Yes. Oh, hi, Beverly.
California Apartment Association. I'd like to speak on item number 3.
Okay. We have 1 minute, Beverly.
Thank you very much. We understand the goal of the air conditioning motion, but I think you've also heard the tremendous liability issues as well as structural issues on older buildings that may prevent the installation of, window units. Many old buildings do not even have the electrical infrastructure or the the type of windows that can accommodate air units. There's also liability issues with tenants installing their own units, just as the owners have suggested. They need to be installed by a licensed HVAC contractor. RSO units, many do not pay for electricity. This is a very high consumption appliance, as well as, how is this going to change the SEER ratings on a building when buildings can't go over a certain number. We also know that in some historic buildings in LA specifically prohibit window units, though they would allow a portable version. We hope that as the city moves forward developing some type of policy, that we are actively engaged, that they're actively engaged with owners on the issues and the concerns surrounding this issue. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Our last caller, please state your name and which items you would like to comment on.
I've already given public comment. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. That was the rest of the public comment. Hello?
Thank you.
Hello?
That concludes the public comment, you said, just to clarify?
Yes, that was it.
Mr. Roman, you did a wonderful job. Thank you for guiding us through that. Can we go forward now? Madam Clerk?
Thank you.
Yes, Mr. Chair. That concludes public comment. Ready to take the first item?
Goodbye.
You want to read item 1 into the record?
Item number 1 is the Los Angeles Housing and Community Investment Department report and the City Administrative Officer 2 report relative to the acceptance of infrastructure and transportation-related grant awards for the 2018 Round 4 Strategic Growth Council's Affordable Housing and Sustainable Communities Program.
Yes, I think we need somebody from the department to read into the record. CAO.
Hi, good afternoon, council members. Mary Orellana Farias with the Office of the City Administrative Officer. I'd like to read the recommendations of the Cio Report dated August 10, 2020 into the record. The recommendations read that the council, subject to the approval of the mayor, 1, authorize the general manager of the Housing and Community Investment Department, HCID, or designee to A, accept grant awards in the amount of $25,560,000 from the California Department of Housing and Community Development, State, to implement the Strategic Growth Council's Affordable Housing and Sustainable Communities ASIC program, Round 4, transportation-related scope of work. B, prepare controller instructions and make any necessary technical adjustments consistent with the mayor and council action on this matter, subject to the approval of the City Administrative Officer, CAO. And 2, authorize the controller to A, recognize a receivable from the state in the amount of $25,560,000 to be recorded in the Affordable Housing and Sustainable Communities Grant Fund number 60. B, establish new accounts and appropriate funds within the Affordable Housing and Sustainable Communities Grant Fund number 60B /43 as follows. $4,200,000 for the Hollywood Arts Collective, $3,360,000 for the Jordan Downs S3, $6 million for Manchester Urban Homes, $6 million for Vermont and Manchester, $6 million for Wayne Cart Tower for a total of $25,560,000. And 3, instruct the CAO to work with the implementing departments, including the HCID, Department of City Planning, Los Angeles Department of Transportation, and Department of Public Works, Bureaus of Engineering, Street Lighting, and Street Services to develop a cash flow mechanism to support the implementation of the transportation-related component of the ASIC Round 4 awards. Thank you.
Thank you. If no objection, a motion to approve the CAO report. Moved and seconded. Mr. Harris-Dawson, thank you for your second.
I will call the roll to take the votes for this item. To approve the CAO report dated August 10th, 2020. Cedillo.
Cedillo.
Krikorian.
Aye.
Harris-Dawson.
Yes.
This item is approved.
Item 2, Madam Clerk.
Item 2 is a City Administrative Officer and Los Angeles Housing and Community Investment Department reports multiple reports relative to the authority to apply Community Redevelopment Agency of the City of Los Angeles excess housing bond proceeds to the affordable housing development on city-owned property located at 5623 through 5633 Elmer Avenue.
Do we have reports, please?
Both reports were submitted prior to the release of the agenda. They are available on the city clerk's website.
Move the item, Mr. Chair.
Item, is there any objection?
No objection.
Would you like to move to approve the recommendations in the CAO report or the HCID LA report?
CAO.
Call in the roll to approve the recommendations in the CAO report. Cedillo.
Cedillo.
Krikorian.
Aye.
Harris Dawson.
Yes.
This item is approved.
I note that we have motions 3 through 7. Any member would like to call any one of these items special for discussion?
Yes, Mr. Chair. Number 3, please.
Sure. So can we discuss item 3? Madam Clerk, you want to read that into the record?
Item 3 is a motion by Root and Blumenfield relative to the feasibility of allowing tenants in apartments without air conditioning to install window air conditioners or use mobile air conditioning units, classifying air conditioning as a service requiring urgent repair, and incentives for property owners who install air conditioning.
And Mr. Chairman, on this one, this is merely a report back at this point, but I do think that it is appropriate, as a number of the speakers have said, to ensure that the reports back include the input of both the LADWP and LADBS as to recommendations. Number 1, certainly, and number one. So the report on feasibility of allowing tenants to install should be in consultation with LADWP and LADBS. And the third recommendation, requesting recommendations for incentive resources available to advise and so forth, that report should be by the CAO in consultation with HCID and the CLA. That would be my proposed amendment to the motion.
Might I also add in, maybe it's inclusive, but that there is some comment about questions of liability and whether or not liability transfers or moves through this process as the properties are reconfigured.
Yeah, I would certainly expect that the city attorney and HCID would probably want to include that discussion in their report. I would hope so.
Mr. Harris-Dawson?
I'm in concurrence with both suggestions and would support moving it forward, including those amendments.
Perfect. Okay. So let's move this as amended.
Call in the roll to approve item number 3 as amended by Councilmember Krikorian to include LADWP and LADBS in recommendation number 1 and CAO in recommendation number 3. Cedillo.
Madam Clerk, you want to call the roll?
Sorry, Mr. Chair, I was muted. Call in the roll to approve item number 3 as amended per Councilmember Krikorian to include departments LADWP and LADBS in recommendation number 1 and the CAO in recommendation number 3. Cedillo.
Cedillo, aye.
Krikorian.
Aye.
Harris Dawson.
Yes.
This item is approved.
Thank you. I want to call item number 7 and ask that, Madam Clerk, I don't want to get ahead of myself.
Item number 7 is a motion by Cedillo and Weston relative to the creation of a transit-oriented, mixed-use, mixed-income housing development at the county-owned site located at 725 North Spring Street.
Right. I want to amend the motion so that it's all that's indicated there, but rather than mixed income, I'm looking for 100% of affordability, and that with respect to the mixed income, we'll do it strictly in the context of affordability.
Second. If you need a second.
Thank you. You want to call the roll, Madam Chair, Madam Clerk?
Calling the roll to approve item number 7 as amended by the chair. Cedillo.
Cedillo, aye.
Krikorian.
Aye.
Harris Dawson.
Yes.
This item is approved.
Madam Clerk, I would like to add an amendment to item 6 as well.
Item 6 is a motion by Cedillo and Harris Dawson relative to initiating and securing necessary zoning entitlement changes for affordable housing opportunity sites as a part of the city's asset management framework.
Yes, and the amendment is simply to add HSID into the mix here. So I add HSID in addition to the Cio and other relevant departments.
Is this a motion, Mr. Chair? Would you like a second?
Second. Thank you.
Thank you. So calling the roll to amend item number 6 to include HSID as a department to report back. Cedillo.
Cedillo, aye.
Krikorian.
Aye.
Harris Dawson.
Yes.
This item is approved.
Is there anything else on the agenda? 4 and 5, just disclosed. 4 and 5?
Items 4, 5.
Okay.
Would you like me to read these items, or you're ready to call the roll for them, Mr. Chair?
I'm ready to call the roll, unless my colleagues object.
Objection.
Calling the roll to approve items 4 and 5 as written. Cedillo.
Cedillo, aye.
Krikorian.
Aye.
Harris Dawson.
Yes.
These items are approved. There's nothing else before us, Mr. Chair.
Is there a motion to adjourn?
I move that we adjourn.
Move to adjourn. Any objection? So be the order, colleagues. Go out and serve the city as you do each and every day, and I thank you for your time and attention.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, everyone. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam.